We are very proud to be one of the main Brazilian companies and one of the world's largest steel producers. With a legacy of 120 years and operations in 10 countries, our history was written and is being written by thousands of protagonists. Today, we look to the future seeking new opportunities. This is only possible thanks to the thousands of people who were co-creators of our past. When João Gerdau founded the Pontas de Paris nail factory in 1901, he started a successful business trajectory. This entrepreneurial flame, which is the basis of our history, remains alive in our culture. In 1948, we arrive at a special chapter in Gerdau's history. The beginning of our steelmaking operations with the Rio Grandense Steelworks in Porto Alegre. Under the leadership of Kurt Johann Peter, the foundations of our corporate culture were set in place. In the mid-1960s, brothers Germano, Jorge, Frederico, and Klaus joined the operation to help their father lead the companies of the Gerdau Group. At that time, the Gerdau Foundation was established, placing even more focus on the culture of social responsibility that has always been part of our DNA. Initially, investments were aimed at health, housing, education, and social assistance. Through the 1960s, Gerdau grew beyond southern Brazil borders and reached Pernambuco. In the decade that followed, we began construction of the Consiga mill in Rio de Janeiro and inaugurated the first branch of commercial Gerdau in São Paulo. In the 1980s, Gerdau expanded its footprint outside of Brazil with the purchase of Laísa Steelworks in Uruguay. A few years later, the Gerdau Johann Peter brothers took over the leadership of the company with a commitment to transform Gerdau into a Brazilian multinational organization. At that time, we won the auction for the privatization of the Borau de Cocais plant in Minas, and we started operating in North America. We advanced into the 90s looking to expand. With the acquisition of the Piracini Steelworks, we entered the special steels market. We launched GG50, the first rebar with a brand and quality guarantee. We also arrived in Argentina and partnered with Aço Minas, which is our current Ouro Branco plant. We turned the century with many new developments. Our shares were listed on the New York Stock Exchange. We expanded our operations to Colombia and the United States. And we joined the select group of century-old companies. In 2005, the Gerdau Institute was established with the mission of coordinating our social policies and guidelines. In 2006, we arrived in Peru and built one of the most modern rebar plants in Brazil. With the creation of the executive committee, André Gerdau Johann Peter took over as CEO, and Claudio Johann Peter became Chief Operating Officer, making them the fifth family generation to serve the company as part of executive management. We continued to advance abroad, arriving in Mexico and the Caribbean. And in Brazil, we started our own iron ore production to supply the Ouro Branco plant in Minas Gerais. In 2013, we entered a new market segment with the production of flat steel with thick plates. Our cultural transformation began in 2014. We revised our structure and the way we operate to become a more agile and less hierarchical company. 2018 was a year of many changes for Gerdau. Gustavo Werneck took office as the first executive president from outside of the Gerdau Johann Peter family. We launched our purpose, empowering people who build the future. We also completed the sales of 7 billion reais in assets. As a result, we could focus on more profitable operations and plan our future. 2020 marked the arrival of another member of the fifth generation to chair Gerdau's board of directors. Guilherme Gerdau Johann Peter became the youngest executive to occupy this position. Our deep roots are the foundation of a prosperous tree, whose strength is in its fruits. Gerdau, shaping the future for 120 years.